I got in my car and I was heading to Chicago. It was one of these summer programs that I was going to, and I was leaving from Huntsville, Alabama, and I was driving to Fox Valley. Actually, it was Batavia, Illinois, because I was going to work at a place called Fermilab. If you're in science, your physics, math, you may know this is a linear accelerator program that's up in the Chicago area or in the suburbs of Chicago. And this was before the days of the GPSs that we had. And so you had to, well, at least not the ones that we have right now. So you had to kind of map it out and have an idea about where you're going. And I got in the car and I started driving and got lost on the way because I didn't do a good job of mapping where I was heading. And often we find that in our lives, in the course of trying to be healthy, the same thing sometimes happens because we haven't mapped out clearly the path that we should be heading. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How do we create a successful plan for reversing diabetes? Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. I'm talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to put their diabetes in remission, who want to get off of medications, who want to reverse their diabetes. That's what we've been doing on the show. If you're new to me as well, go ahead and put new in the comments because we would love to give you a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited about you being here and for you to be a part of the community tonight. If you're also new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I would love to see your questions. I would love to answer those. Actually, put Q in the comments in front of your question because we would love to be able to answer those questions for you. Okay? So glad that you're here. If you've been following us along, you know that we have been on a trek. We have been on a process of reversing diabetes, and we've had some amazing successes through the course of the year so far as our community members have come on and shared with us some of their successes. People who've gotten off of medication, people who've been able to stop their insulin pump, people who have lost weight and who are in weight categories that they have not seen for years. In the office, we're seeing a lot of folks who are now in the process of using the tools, several of the tools that we're talking about here on the show. And you are not an exception because you can use those tools as well. And as you know, we love to kind of engage with our folks here on the show. And I do see Steve out there. Hey, Steve, how you doing, man? Thank you for coming through. There we go. And I do see Jennifer. So Teresa says hello. Hey, Teresa, thanks for stopping by as well. And wherever you are watching from right now, we are so glad that you have joined us for tonight. Well, hey, let's hop into it. Now, as you know, we also are going to spend some time showing, and let me go ahead and pop that up here really quickly. We're going to spend some time looking at my monitors, and this one actually just went out. So let's see if it'll give us a number. Oh, there it is. Yeah, give us a number. And let's see, that hasn't come up yet, but as soon as it comes up, we'll take a look so that you can see where my blood sugars have been hanging out as we walk through this process together. Okay. Hey, Teresa, I see you out there. So, you guys saw the flyer. You know what we're talking about. We're talking about success, right? We're talking about success. And so how do we plan to succeed? Now, success comes in a lot of different ways, right? So your definition of success really kind of gives fuel, if you will, to what is going on and what we want to track, and the things that give us a goal or the end of the line for our success. And so if we don't, as I said earlier, then you don't succeed. Now, last week we talked about setting SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T, and that'll come up again as we go through the discussion tonight. But this is kind of bigger than just setting the SMART goal, right? The SMART goal was you have an idea, you have a dream, you have a destination that you want to go. And so you've set things in place, right? You've taken it, you've chunked it up, you have gone through, and like I said, we'll come back and talk more about that. And so you've created that goal, and okay, this is where we're heading. But what else surrounds this process of being successful? And that's what we want to spend some time tonight talking about. How does the SMART goal really fit into everything else that's going on? So let's hop over. So my goal is to help you create a structured plan to manage and reverse your diabetes. That's where we're heading. And so we're going to give some framework. We're going to put some meat on the bones. We're going to give some ideas that you want to begin incorporating. And we'll come back. And this really is probably the first of two introductory shows. I shouldn't say probably. The first of two introductory shows where we'll talk about setting this up. And then we'll come back and we'll flesh it out, right? So a structured plan provides clarity. It provides direction. And it provides measurable outcomes. These are all crucial to long-term success. So that's what a structured plan does. Within the structured plan, there's this idea of SMART goals that we've talked about. But if you don't have a structured plan, then the SMART goals don't have a vehicle, if you will, to keep them going. And really, you don't have a vehicle to keep you going, because lots of things will come up as you process and as you move through the direction. Like right now, it's May, right? It's May. And so we've all been excited, right? Day one, January of 2024. And we hit the ground running. New year, new you. We're reversing diabetes. We've got all these plans. We've got all these tools that we've learned. We've got all these ideas that are now in our head, and we're excited about it. And the year is going on. And as you go through the year, I shouldn't say life begins happening. Life has been happening. But there are some things that begin happening that kind of derail you. And so we talked about getting back on track, right? Now, if you did not have a plan, then getting back on track becomes even more difficult. But if you have a plan, if you built into the plan, hey, I'm going to have times when it's going to be difficult. I'm going to have times when it's going to be tough. Then if you don't have a plan, then that becomes difficult to proceed, okay? So just want to kind of throw that out there. So that's what a structured plan does, right? A structured plan allows you to do that. We want to understand our why. So number one, the very first show that we did at the beginning of the year was to understand your why, or figure out your why. And in terms of the structured plan, the very first part of the process is to have that why listed there at the top of, if you're going to have a sheet, if you're going to have a notebook, if you're going to have a journal, right at the top of that should be the why. Why am I doing this? Reflect on the deeper reasons behind your health goals. Why am I doing this? Because understanding your why helps you to maintain long-term commitment. I hope that's right. So understanding your why allows you to maintain long-term commitment and your drive. Because there are things that will come up that's going to test you. I had just this past weekend, right? So we had here in town, we had a conference, and it was an amazing conference. Went to the conference Friday evening, and the motivation that I felt and the ideas that were thrown out were things that kind of touched me to my core. And as I walked through the process, though, I began struggling with some old demons. Right. So some of those old things began coming into my head. Um, Feelings of inadequacy, feelings of regret, right? Because it was a motivational place and I was motivated, but now I began thinking about, man, if I had done this before, if I had started earlier, if I had not given up on that particular dream. So all of that began playing in my head. And it is during those times that we have to kind of say, okay, why am I doing this? This particular hump or bump in the road may cause me some dissonance, may cause me some struggles, but what's the bigger picture? Why am I doing this in the first place? And if you can remember the why, if that why is listed there, then it becomes a simpler thing. Notice I didn't say easier. It becomes a simpler process, right? Remember the triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. All of this fits into that process because it is what allows us to move through and move beyond some of the struggles and some of the things places we find ourselves in our head. Okay? So understanding your why, number one. Number two, establish some daily routines. Now, this is one that, when we come back, we're going to spend much time kind of going through this. In your management of your diabetes, in the reversing of your diabetes, there are so many parts of your life. Well, let me say it this way. I said this to someone in the office today, and I said to them, diabetes is just a single component of your life. It is not your life. It is not the end all and be all of your life. It is a simple, or I shouldn't say simple, it is a small part of all the things that you do. You are a social person. You are a spiritual person. You have financial needs. You have relational needs. You have physical needs. You have emotional needs. And often we allow diabetes to usurp, if you will, and take away all of the other things that are supposed to be part of our lives. And it becomes the thing. And I want to convince you that it is not. Because our goal really is to kind of get this thing managed so that we can live the rest of our lives. And it'll be a small part of it. It's kind of like a bicycle wheel, right? So at the center of it is the hub, and then all the spokes go out from there. Diabetes is simply a spoke in the wheel, y'all. It is not the hub. But often we have made it the hub because of the difficulty that we sometimes find ourselves in. Okay? So establishing daily routines allows us to align the entirety of our being with the goal for our life. And part of that is the reversing of our diabetes. Let me say that again. Establishing daily routines allows us to align every aspect of our lives with the general goal of our life. And part of that is reversing diabetes. So whether it's a morning check-in, right? And this is just an example. This is not an exhaustive list. This is not even the thing. This is not even the discussion we're having about daily routines. We'll come back and we'll do that. But do you have a morning routine? What is it? Do you get up and just kind of run? Or do you have a set of things that you do? Measuring your blood sugar in the morning. I get up in the morning and I've got the few things that I do, and part of it is measuring my blood sugar. That's why I love these monitors, because they're there, right? They're here, and I get to see that without having much difficulty, right? So if you don't have a glucose monitor, hey, you need to talk to your doctor, and you may need to say, hey, I'm going to invest in getting one of these so that I can measure, right? So do you review your daily goals? And what are your planned activities for today? All right, if you go back and you watch our shows, some of the shows that we did in the fall, we talked about the process of going through that. What do we do? What do I do? And we'll come back. We'll talk more about that as we get through the next several shows next several episodes of our shows in New Year, New You, right? Do you review the things that you're supposed to be doing for today? Or is it just kind of haphazard? Do you have a healthy breakfast? If you do have breakfast. If you've been doing fasting with us, right, you know that maybe you don't have breakfast in the morning. Maybe you're doing something else. But is that built in to your day? Is it built into the things that you are doing for that day? Do you have some physical activity? Right? You may have seen, was it last week that I posted that I started going to the gym? Yeah, right. Do you have that built into your day? Do you have a mindful practice? Do you do some meditation? That all has to do with stress release, and being able to manage some of the things that are coming through the rest of the day. Remember, diabetes, there are other things other than food that cause blood sugars to go up. We've talked about stress and sleep, right? Infection, inflammation. All those things can cause problems for us. Do you review your schedule and your to-do list? Do you know how to prioritize what's on your list? I had someone today, and I was saying to them that, hey, there's so many things that are on the list, but I don't see the management of your diabetes there. And if you don't manage, if you don't reverse, if you don't improve diabetes, then everything else on your list is in jeopardy, y'all. The two most valuable things that you own, your time and your health. And if you're not doing a good job of managing those, of doing what you need to do in that space, then yeah, it becomes tough. So what happens? What happens if you chase after everything else, but you don't put on the priority list diabetes? And you have complications from the diabetes. Now everything else is in jeopardy. So remember that. Remember that. Right. So that's you're going to establish a daily routine. Are you doing that? Do you have that in place? And then, of course, set clear, achievable goals. This goes back to our SMART goals. Are your goals specific? And I want to say something here, that the SMART goals that you're setting, you can use SMART not just for health and diabetes and blood sugar goals. Like we talked last time of setting an achievable goal or a SMART goal of achieving a blood sugar between 80 and 130 or 70 and 130 with an A1C of 6.5 by 6 months. That is a SMART goal. Is it specific? Yes. Blood sugars between 30 and 8 or 80 and 130. A1C 6.5. Is it measurable? Yes, because you can measure it. Are my blood sugars where in the range that I said I want? And when I get my labs from my doctor, is it where I need it to be? 6.5. Is it achievable? Yes, it is achievable. Is it relevant to what I want? Yes, it's relevant to the fact that I want to be healthier, and I want to put my diabetes in remission. I want to reverse my diabetes. It is relevant to my plan. And is it time bound? Yes, 6 months. By the way, if you're out there, how fast do you think you can lower an A1C? How fast do you think you can lower an A1C? Because I have people come to me and they say, hey, I've said, hey, your A1C is high. And they say, oh yeah, it's better this year, so that's 12 months, than it was this time last year. Now, that's great. I love it. I love the fact that it's better. But why isn't it in our target range? Target range is 6.5. It's been a year. So how fast do you think you can lower A1C? Okay. You can lower it very quickly, by the way, y'all. Very quickly. Okay. So remember, the A1C is a marker of your 90-day average. So the A1C can be lowered in very short period. In fact, if you do a good job, depending on how high it is, by the way, because the monitors, the The machines that we have can only measure A1Cs that are a certain level. So if it's higher than that, for instance, if your A1C, let's pick some silly numbers, right? Say your A1C is 100, and the meter or the A1C machine can only measure an A1C of 20. So anything beyond 20, it can't measure. So if your A1C goes from 100 down to 30, we can't tell that it's changed. As a matter of fact, if your A1C goes from 100 down to 21, we can't tell it's changed because we just said that the machine can only read up to lower than 20. Right? And like I said, that's a silly example. But the A1C is changing, but we can't tell. Now, if we're in the range that the machine can tell, right? Let's say your A1C, the machine can go 14. Let's say your A1C is 14. And we can read, so anytime your A1C is changing, we can tell that is improving. So we are improving, but you may not be able to get an A1C in the target range, 6.5, for maybe another 3 months because it is an average. So if your A1C has been high the whole time, even though you've been good this last month, it's not going to be good enough to outweigh the 2 months before that. So it may take you little over 60 to 90 days to get an A1C that's in the target range. Now, if you have blood sugars that are like extremely good, y'all, remember it's an average. So average of a good number and average of a bad number, we get better numbers. Okay? All right. So yes. So SMART goals. Set clear, achievable goals. Next, build a support system. Now, you know this one was coming, right? Communicate your needs and enlist support from family, friends, healthcare providers, people in this community, here on the channel, in our social media platform, right? Build a support system. If you want to go somewhere, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, take other people with you. I cannot stress enough the benefits of having people with you in the process. It's amazing to have folks that you could turn to, that you can solicit help from. People sometimes, and here's the thing, sometimes the people, they don't even know how to help you. But just having a listening ear, y'all. This weekend when I was going through my little head thing, right? I actually sat down, and what was happening is that my son was out with friends, and my wife was away. Right? So a big part of my support system was not here. And so that's the beauty of support. That even when the person who's out there, the person who's in your support system may not have a ready answer, just having them in the vicinity, have them around, being able to pick up the phone and call them allows you for some strength to push through the process. So build, y'all, a support system, right? That's one of our pillars, right? We educate, we empower, and we encourage. The encouragement is the support system. So remember, we're talking about how do we make a plan for success? How do we make a plan for success in reversing our diabetes? So what's our plan for success, right? We got to know our why. We got to have routines. We got to set SMART goals, and we're coming through. We're going through those, right? Build a support system because it's so important to have a support system. Get regular medical checkups. Boom. I'm gonna get regular checkups. Get regular checkups. Get regular checkups. Now, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna talk to my men. I'm gonna talk to my men, right? So, ladies, you hang out for a minute because I'm coming to you. So, guys, there's nothing macho about claiming that you have not seen a doctor in over 10 years. There's no extra maleness because you've not been to your doctor in over 5 years. There's no benefit to you. There's no badge of honor to say those types of things. If you are interested in being successful, part of your plan has to be getting regular medical checkups. Now, you may not agree with what the doctor decides that he wants to have you do. You may not even sometimes understand what the doctor is telling you. But knowing that there is an issue early, catching it early, I cannot stress the importance of having that information. Now, you can do whatever you want with the information, but at least you have the information. But if you are not getting regular checkups, then we can't find out things. And sometimes when we find things out, it is too late to make the significant changes that we need to be of great benefit. Now, it's never too late to find out, but sometimes the process of treating and making improvement, we may have been able to make 100% improvement if we found it earlier, but now we only have 10% that we could do, or 20% or 30%, whatever it is. So to my guys, make sure you are going to your doctors. As part of that, listen to your wives. Listen to your wife. Do you know they say that men who are in relationships they live about 5 years longer? Yeah. You know why that is? Because our significant others make us go to the doctor. Right? Because we're just so, we'll have chest pain. Like, that's just indigestion. No, it's not indigestion, man. You're having an ischemic event. You know what an ischemic event is? It's called a heart attack. Go get regular medical checkups. Right? For my ladies. Now, you guys are just so wonderful about going to see your doctor, okay? But there's one area that I think a lot of times women will fall down on, and that is seeing the gynecologist. Make sure that you are visiting your gynecologist. I'm not a woman, so I don't understand all the ins and outs of the feelings that you guys have of having the exam, and I know nobody wants that exam, but we currently do not have a better way of making these checks, ladies. So please, 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 please don't assume that everything is okay. Get regular checkups. And then for all of my diabetics, right? Because those were just general statements. For my diabetics, if you have diabetes, make sure that you're getting your eye exams. Make sure that you're getting out there and you're getting regular eye. You should have an eye exam every year at least, unless the physician you're seeing says, I need you sooner. It shouldn't be more than a year, but it can be sooner if there are issues going on. Okay? So get regular checkups. Did I say that enough? Did I say it again? Can I say it again? Get regular medical checkups. Okay? And then y'all engage in continuous learning. Engage in continuous learning. That's why I love this platform. That's why I love where we are. Right? And I've said to people before, I said, if I could, I would stay in school all the time, right? But I had to get out of school. I had to make some money to live, right? And I had to make some money so my wife and I could have a place to be. And then when my son came along, I had to make money so he could eat. But I would spend all my time in school because I love learning. Well, it shouldn't have to be school, right? So it doesn't have to be formal education. That's why this is so exciting to me, because I get to sit here, I get to learn, I get to interact with you, I get to learn your stories. My phone is an amazing tool. And I tell people, if I had discovered audiobooks before, I would be a lot smarter. But my car with my phone is a driving library. You have access to videos, audiobooks. I mean, there are free resources in a lot of the libraries. If you have a library card, you can check out audiobooks. You can check out digital formats. In the community, at the library, once again, the community center, there are all these things that are going on. One of the things that we're working on is to be more in the community doing New Year, New You. So, by the way, if you're out there and you are part of any organization and you are looking for someone to do New Year, New You, talk about diabetes, talk about health, hey, you got me right here. But be in a continuous process of learning, y'all. And don't just let it go in and stay there. Begin implementing it in your life. But always be in that posture of continuously learning. Okay? Continuous learning. Did I say it again? Continuous learning. And then, well, let me tell a story about this one. Let me tell a story. And we'll come back here in a minute. There are amazing people that right now are watching. There are amazing people that I've encountered. There are amazing people who come through the office, amazing clients, amazing people in our community. And I'll tell you though, one of the most painful things that I see is the sometimes lack of self-care, the lack of taking care of ourselves in some other meaningful way. And I'll elaborate on that in a minute. The most valuable thing that we own is our health and our time. Health and time. Those go hand in hand with each other. And so when we talk about self-care, right? Self-care is a crucial component of managing diabetes and maintaining overall well-being. And I wanted to preface what I said earlier, just a minute ago, because diabetes is our thrust. Diabetes is our goal. But wellness, wholeness is your ultimate goal. And reversing your diabetes is a component of that. Remember, health and time. Health and time. So self-care involves taking deliberate actions to care for your physical, mental, and emotional health. Yep. Sometimes we can't manage our medical stuff, not because it's not manageable, but because we've got so many mental, emotional, and physical issues. If I'm in pain all the time, y'all, guess what? I'm not really interested in blood sugar. Right? Because my brain is on the pain. If I'm uncomfortable for whatever reason, my hip hurts, my knee hurts, my weight is so high that I can't move around, I feel uncomfortable in my skin physically. If I'm depressed, if I'm anxious, if I'm regretting things, if I'm tied to the past, The diabetes is the last thing on my mind. Part of our heat model was the emotion, right? The emotion part of that. And the emotions will push through anything that you've put in place. That's why it's so powerful. Because you could decide that you're not going to. You can make a commitment that you're swearing off Ben and Jerry's ice cream. I don't know why that one comes to my mind. But when those emotions come, oh yeah. And this was part of the struggle for me this weekend. Right? So there were all these emotions that were welling up. And even as I am in the process of new year, new you, and having successes, the emotions when they come, there's a powerful thing, y'all. So self-care is taking deliberate steps to put things in place to manage our physical, our mental, and our emotional health. Because if we don't do that, guess what? Right? All right. So what I want to do is we're going to come back to and finish up there in just a few minutes. But I do want to hop over and say hello to some of you who are out here. So Teresa was saying hi to Steve. And Steve said, I love my Freestyle Libre. It has taught me what foods to skip and what foods to eat more often. It has been a great learning tool. Yes, definitely, Steve. And I think Steve is saying when I asked the question about how quickly can you lower an A1C, and he said very quickly. Yes, Steve, you can do very quickly. Teresa's asking whether it's 30 days. Well, Teresa, you can lower it in faster than 30 days. You may not see the number A1C-wise that you want to get to because once again, it's an average, right? So it's going to take a while for that A1C, unless you're having like super low blood sugars, then it's going to be hard for those numbers to kind of get to the target A1C, maybe a couple of months, okay? And Steve, let's see, Steve, is that the one that can measure ketones? No, the Freestyle Libre is this one, Teresa. It's the one that you see on the screen, the one that we've been using here. It's one of these monitors. The one that you're talking about is this one over here, which is our keto modo, which we'll do here in just a minute. All right, let's see. And Steve says, Teresa, if I buy the strips, I believe I can. Dr. Woode can tell us for sure. And ask that question again. I wasn't sure, Teresa or Steve, what the question there is. Okay. She said, I hear you. And then, okay. Yeah, so go back to, let's see, where's the question or the comment? This one right here. Teresa, if I buy the strips, I believe I can. Dr. Woode can tell us for sure. And we can, you can purchase the strips for this guy, right? In fact, let me see if I can. So these are the strips. Oh, okay, for Libre. Yes, you can buy strips for Libre as well. Yeah, there are strips. There are strips out there that you can get for the Libre. Now that requires you to have a Libre reader, right? So leave a Libre 3 or a Libre 2 reader, which are available, and then you can use that. Okay. All right, so let's do something here real quick, and let me hop over. As you know, when I talk, my Clarity app or my Clarity report logs out. So let me log back in really quickly, and then we'll talk about that. If you have other questions, go ahead and put that in the chat, because we would love to get with you and answer those. And it looks like someone is asking how to gain weight. How to gain weight. Yeah, you know, I've had people over the years who have needed to gain weight. And the first thing to answer that question is to figure out if there is a medical reason that we are either losing weight or not able to pick up weight, right? Because there are some disease processes, hyperthyroidism, for example, Addison's disease is another one, we're talking specifically endocrine diseases, but there are other diseases where it's difficult to gain weight. Diabetes itself, right? If our blood sugars are high enough, then it's going to be hard to gain weight, because the blood sugars, the high blood sugar is causing the body to urinate, and when you urinate, you get rid of calories. Okay. All right. So let's see. What do we got? That's our behind the scenes. Let's take a look at this guy right here. All right. And so on the screen there, you see my my Libre meter. And let's go ahead and let's take a look at my actual Libre. And there is my blood sugar. And you'll see here over the course of the last day that blood sugars have gone from the 150s down to where it is 90. I was having some issues with my Okay, there you go. Dexcom, which is 100 right now. Let's go over and let's see what the Keto Mojo and my Contour are saying. All right. So here's the Contour meter, and then here is the Keto Mojo. As you know, the Contour only gives the glucose, so we'll get a strip out of that right here and get that in. And let's get a strip into the Keto Mojo. All right, and we get our drop of blood. I'm going to change fingers. You guys know I use that middle finger all the time, but let's see if we get a good drop. There we are. Yep. And one for the Contour. And then we have to get another drop because we'll need to do the ketones. And so I'm back on my regular eating schedule, but I haven't eaten since last night, probably 1 o'clock. 1 a.m., by the way. I should say this morning. So we'll see what my ketones are. All right, so 100 for the Contour and 0.4. Right. So if you've been following us on the on our fasting, you know, you kind of know ketones. Ketones that are below 0.5 are considered normal. Ketones that are 0.5 to 1.5 are therapeutic or nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now, my ketones are 0.4, and that's because I've been eating. Okay. Once I start fasting again, you'll see those ketones begin climbing. And so this is where we are right now. Let's see. And that's the graph. So it'll start. Let's see if we can get it to sync here in just a minute. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so those are the ketones 0.4 with a glucose of 102. And if we hop over and take a look at what my monitors are showing, or my reports are showing, All right, and you'll see there that my average blood sugar, according to the Dexcom report, is 99 over the last 14 days, and 90 last 90 days 109. Yay! Look at that. I'm in target 94% of the time, which is a range of 70 to 180. My estimated A1C, or the glucose management indicator, is 5.9, which is amazing, right? Yeah, we'll see what that is, because I'll be getting, actually no, it's going to be another, when did I get that? Probably another month or so. I might get it a little earlier just so we can use it. Remember, we still have to do our show where you look at those numbers. And then let's scroll down and let's take a look at what's been going on blood sugar wise over the last several days. As you guys know, last week when I fasted, I actually did a 92-hour fast rather than a 72-hour fast. Sorry, 96-hour. Actually turned into a 97-hour fast. So let's see what happens since I broke the fast. So that was, so we started last week, Monday night. So 24 hours later, blood sugar was 87. 48 hours at 10 o'clock, we were 75. 24 hours later at 72 hours, blood sugars were in the 50s and 60s. And then as we came into the 96, 97 hour mark, blood sugars were down in the 50s, okay? So that's Friday night. And then I started eating. And so blood sugars rose throughout that day, up into the 100s. And that was Saturday night. And this is where I was having my struggles, y'all. Right? So this right here that you see, if you guys know me, what do you think that is? Who can guess what I was eating when it started rising right there? Who thinks they can guess? If you can guess, go ahead and drop that in the comments. All right, so let's and I see that Life and Game. I do see your question there. I'm gonna hold on to that for a minute. And then Jeff had a question there. I'll come back there. And Life and Game said meat. No, not meat. Not meat. Who knows what my Achilles heel is? All right, so those are cashews right there, y'all. Those are cashews. Right? And then, right, some more cashews into the next day. Oh. Right, so we're in the 100s now. All right, so we're 130s. And then my son, they had a program at school. And so I went to the program, and right here, that 150, 169, that's a piece of, that is a piece of, what did we have? Vegan cake. But of course, it had icing on it. Oh yeah, so vegan cake and fruits right here. That's what did this. And then into this morning and today, and like I said, I probably ate. I mean, a little before midnight was the last time I ate. And that wasn't. I mean, it's not deliberate. Just today I wasn't really hungry. And so today, this morning, 130s, 140s, 140s, and blood sugars are dropping down now into the 70s and low 100s. Okay? Awesome. All right, so let's pop back over here and let's see if we can deal with some of these questions that we have. So dear Dr. Woode, I struggle to gain weight despite a good diet and exercise. What are the best food ratios, supplements, and lifestyle factors for healthy weight gain? Thank you. And once again, let me preface this by saying that it depends on what's causing the weight gain or weight loss. If there is a metabolic disease that's causing it, then fixing the disease. So if it's a matter of high blood sugars will cause weight loss. If it's hyperthyroidism causes weight loss. If it's adrenal insufficiency or Addison's disease, then that will cause weight loss as well. Okay, so it depends on what's going on. So that's the first question, life and game. So you want to make sure that you're checking with your doctor. And then I think I see another question from you, so I'll come back and I'll finish answering this one when I get there. Jeff says, I lost almost 50 pounds when I was diagnosed with type 2, not trying. I had to eat my goat's weight in protein grams and lift weights to add back another 13 pounds. The rapid weight loss and feet pain sent me to the doctor when I was diagnosed. Yep. And then it says, Dear Dr. Woode, I am concerned about skull throughput disease and would like some information about that. So if you have a specific question about those diseases, if you would drop us a line on our in our email, right? So Dwain Woode MD, dwood@dwainwoodemd.com, then we can maybe ask more specific questions, because I do have some questions that we kind of won't go into here online, but if you will do that, I'd love to kind of engage with you. Okay, and so Life and Game says meat. Steve said almonds. Yes. So it wasn't almonds this time. It was cashews. He said yes. Steve, doctor loves those. And yet I had hyperthyroidism. Jeff was saying he had hyperthyroidism as well there. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is a great place for us to do our thought of the day. So let's hop over and let's do that right now. And so our thought of the day, what I want to share with you is a simple yet powerful concept that can make a significant difference in your journey to better health. The power of small steps. Take small steps. Often we see big ambitious goals for ourselves, or we set big ambitious goals for ourselves. And while it's important to aim high, it's the small, consistent steps that truly drive us towards our goal. These small yet mighty steps may seem insignificant by themselves, but when added up, they lead to substantial progress over time. Why small steps matter? Well, small steps matter because they can be managed and they're less overwhelming. It's easier to see a small step. It's easier to be more consistent. They help to build habits, and they help to create a series of accomplishments that kind of boost us up. Each small step, each small victory, each small thing that you do boasts and bolsters our confidence, and it helps to keep us motivated. The small steps are the guideposts, or they are the signposts in the road that lets us know that we are heading there, that we're going in the right direction. It's kind of like taking a trip, and you know that you're not there. You know it takes 900 miles. You know it takes 2 days. You know it takes 24 hours. You know it takes whatever. But as you're driving, you see those mile posts ticking along, and you're encouraged to know, I'm heading in the right direction, and I am making progress. So they help build momentum. As you continue to take these small steps, you'll start to see progress. This progress builds momentum. It makes it easier to stay on track. It makes it easier to continue making healthy choices. When you see that first half a pound go away, it's okay, let me make another healthy choice. When the next pound goes and we see the blood sugars improve and you get that next lab, It is the consistency that is the key. So take time to reflect on your progress and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Each step towards a goal is a step to a healthier you. So embrace the power of small steps. In your journey, it can help reverse your diabetes and it improves your health. Remember, it's not about making drastic changes overnight. It's about making small, consistent efforts every single day and getting to the goal. Stay committed, and you'll see the positive changes over time. And that is our thought for today. All right, all right. Yes, 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 yes. So, setting or creating a progress, creating a plan for success is where we want to be. Creating that plan for success is so important, y'all. And how do we do it here on the channel? How do we do it here on the channel? Well, let me back up and let me give you a couple of other thoughts. So to recap, creating the plan means understanding your why, knowing why you're doing what you're doing, establishing daily routines that keep you consistent, setting clear, achievable goals, building a support system around you, getting regular medical checkups, engaging in continuous learning, and practicing self-care. In order to be successful, you have to have a plan. And that is what we are doing, right? So if you fail to plan, I heard someone say, then you plan to fail. So we are going to be working through the plan. All the things that we've talked about, we'll come back and we'll talk more in depth about various aspects of this. But ultimately, what we're doing is we're putting diabetes in remission. You're out there and you're thinking to yourself, man, this seems like an undaunting task, a daunting task. But let me convince you that it is possible, particularly as we take simple, small, consistent steps, as we do that together. If you're out there right now and you're thinking, man, all they're talking about is diabetes. I don't have diabetes, so this is not for me. Let me dissuade you of that idea, because all of the things that we talk about as we are managing diabetes also will help for those who have other metabolic diseases like high blood pressure, high lipids, coronary artery disease, polycystic ovarian syndrome, obesity, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, people who are struggling with metabolic syndrome, right? So all of the things, on and on and on and on, all of those are things that are helpful, or they improve with the concepts that we're using. So as you are creating a plan, if you're watching right now and you say, well, I don't have a diabetes plan, you don't need a diabetes plan. Let's make a plan for your high blood pressure. Let's make a plan for your high cholesterol. How about reversing and decreasing your risk of a heart attack? How about improving polycystic ovarian syndrome, right? Which is a big barrier for a lot of people who want to lose weight, people who are interested in getting pregnant, right? So our women, polycystic ovarian syndrome, obesity. You want to lose some weight? Come on. You've got fatty liver. Let's improve it. You've got metabolic syndrome. Let's work on it. So not just because you don't have diabetes, should you not, well, sorry, let me back up. Let me say that a little differently. If you don't have diabetes, that does not mean that this information is not for you as well. Okay. And then y'all, how do we do what we do here on the channel? Our triple E formula for success. Actually, you know what? Let me do something. I know I keep coming with other things. Let me do one more thing. And that is a new idea that I want to present, right? A new idea that I want to present. And it is not so much a new idea, but a new part of our community and part of our platform that I want us to begin embracing. And you'll see me talking more and more and more about it. I can't tell you the number of people that I run into, and when I present to them New Year, New You, they begin thinking, and they think that New Year, New You is limited to their blood pressure, and it's limited to their diabetes, and it's limited to this small aspect of where they think they want to be. Or the number of people that I've seen who over the years have been trying one thing or another and have been unsuccessful. They've not been able to control their diabetes. They've not been able to get their A1C where it needs to be. They have not been able to get their weight where it needs to be. And I want you to know that your disease process, if you follow the principles that we are learning together, if you engage in the community, y'all, then you have unlimited potential. What did I say? Unlimited potential. So you'll see me start talking more and more as we discuss our New Year, New You, as we discuss our plans, as we discuss what we're learning is unlimited. I'm telling you, there's a community member right now who's in the chat. Let's see if he's still there. Who was in the chat earlier, who came on and shared with us the successes that he had in terms of weight, in terms of medication. Just last week, or this week actually, someone sent me a message and said, hey, I am doing a 96-hour fast. Say, I saw your show and I'm doing a 96-hour fast. And people think they could not fast before. So you want to improve your health? You have unlimited power. You want to improve your diabetes? It's unlimited, your ability to do that. You want to get better in terms of coronary artery disease? Unlimited, y'all, with education, empowerment, and encouragement. You want to be well? You want to improve your mental health. You want to improve your physical health. You want to improve your emotional health. Unlimited potential, unlimited power with education, empowerment, and encouragement. It is not just a single piece. It is the ability to go beyond where you thought you could be, to go beyond what you thought you could have, to go beyond what you have done in the past, to go beyond what some people are saying to you. Unlimited potential, y'all. That's what we're talking about. Unlimited. So you'll see that. Keep an eye out. You'll hear it. You'll see it on the platform. You'll see it on our shows. You'll see the logos. Unlimited potential. But how do we do what we do? Hey, y'all, the triple E formula for success. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. We educate with the shows, the blogs, the podcasts. We educate you because we've got to change the mindset. We've got to flip the script. We got to refocus by education. We empower by the tools. Like tonight, we learned a tool. This is a tool, and we'll come back. We'll fill in some of the pieces of that tool and give you additional tools. The empowerment comes from the tools. Don't just let education come, but you got to apply it, and the tools are how you do that. And then the encouragement comes from the community that you all are a part of, and I love the community. I love the power. I love the energy. I love the interaction of the community. Make sure that you're here. Our HEAT model, y'all, and I always want to push this because the HEAT model, it is the thing that we often find ourselves struggling with. The things that make us eat, the thing that pulls us off of our lifestyle plan. It is the food, the habits that we've built, the emotions that well up like welled up in me this weekend, the access that we have when I went to the store and actually bought the thing that was going to raise my blood sugar. I knew that. And the taste, because the taste reminds us, the taste fills in, it brings us back to a different place. It reminds us of a space where we felt better. So habits, emotions, access, and taste. And then our call to action, y'all. Our call to action is this. Number one, join the challenges. Once again, don't just let it be words that you hear that go to the shelf and, oh, I listened to that show. Oh, that stuff was good, but you don't do anything about it. Join the challenges. In the course of our, let's see, where is that? In the course of our year so far, our challenge in January was to find our why. Remember, the very first thing that we talked about in terms of building a plan was what's the why? The 5 whys. That's one of our tools. In February, hey, let's fast for 24 hours once a week. Come on, let's join it. Let's do it. And it's not just a one-time thing. This is something that I want you to be doing continuously. In March, which of the triggers is yours? I'm going to tell you, I have 3 of them. Emotions, access, and taste. Those are the ones that get me all the time. Habit, not so much, but emotions, access, and taste. That's where I find my struggle. In April, it was to create a meal. Right? We learned how to create a 7-day meal plan, but you were supposed to create one meal, right, that filled these criteria. Minimize processing, not a lot of added sugar, whole foods, starchy and non-starchy vegetables, healthy fats, lean protein, tasty, and it has to be appropriate portion size. And then this month is to find someone to mentor. Don't do this by yourself. Find somebody who benefits from this. There are over 1 billion people on the planet right now who are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. You can be a voice of change. And that brings us back to our call to action, which is, and the final part of the call to action is to invite a friend. Bring somebody along, say, hey, let's go watch this show. Hey, let's go watch this episode. Hey, let's go rewatch this episode. Hey, let's work on this together, right? So invite them here, send them the link, right? We're here every Monday at 7 o'clock Central. And then maybe that can be your mentee, the person that you mentor on the New Year, New You platform, on the New Year, New You process. So be the voice that changes your family, that changes your community. Don't just do this by yourself. Invite somebody here and join the challenges. So y'all, hey, I love it. I love how we do what we do when we do what we do. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that works. So yes, the process works. The process works, y'all. Okay. And so we will be back this week, y'all, as we get further into our fast. We'll come back. We'll be doing check-ins. Remember, next Monday we'll be on the show for our regular show. And then later this month, and in fact, coming up on, let's see, I shouldn't say later this week. Right? Later this week is our community check-in. And if you've joined us before, you'll see that the link. Go ahead and sign up for the link. Go to our website. You'll see it there as well. And you can sign up to get into that discussion. This is going to be our community meetup where we actually spend some time talking to each other, where we can see each other face to face. You may bring some specific questions. You have issues that are going on right now, and we will do that together, okay? So make sure that you get there and make sure that you sign up for that. Hey, y'all, as always, this is Dr. Dwain Woode, loving to be with you. The Woode, the E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health in your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, y'all, new year, new you. Good night. We'll see you at our check-in. And then next week, well, on Thursday, we'll see you at our community meetup. And then next week, we'll see you on our show, 7 p.m. Central, right here. Good night, everybody.